Well, hello, everyone. And once again, welcome to our next Codon ring. This week's or this month's, we are in January, Codon ring is the ring of Gaia, or the ring of Earth's Merkaba. The gene keys that are in this codon ring are 19, 60, and 61. And it is held together by Hebrew number 10, also known as Yod. So let's go ahead and show you a picture. Let's see. So here is Yod. And I meant to this whole time to share with you always the picture of the Star of David, or the Merkaba. This is why I called this ring the Earth's Merkaba. That's kind of the title of Gene Key 19. But I wanted to show you every time we did a codon ring where the Hebrew number resides in this Merkaba, or Star of David. So here is Yod, and you notice it's like a little comma. It's the smallest of all the letters, and yet the most important because it is the basis of every letter of the alphabet. It is in every one of the 22 letters, which means that it is behind everything in existence. But before we continue on with Yod, let's look at this. I wanted to bring this up. This is the image of all the 22 letters and the positions of each letter in the Star of David, or Merkaba. I think it's such a beautiful system. And here we have everything starts from the right. We have Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Gimel, or Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Chet, and Tet, which is 9. And here we have Yod, which is 10, 11, 12, all the way to 22. If you want to find this online, you can just Google images, Hebrew alphabet, Star of David. Okay, so that's enough of that. I just thought you would enjoy that. All righty, so where are we? Let's look at my list of notes. So what is Yod? Yod is basically Aleph. Aleph is 1. Remember, Aleph is the great wind that hovers over the waters of creation. All physical manifestation is the waters of creation. So Aleph and Yod are basically the same, but Aleph stays in the celestial realms. It cannot penetrate, it does not penetrate the earth. So it needs 10 as its vehicle to penetrate, to become the bridge for the manifest reality, okay, and the celestial realms. So it's quite like essential oils. You know, you can have, they have the essence, and if you just put them on without a carrier oil, then it disperses quickly, it doesn't stay. So this is what 10 is. So basically 10 is Aleph, just in a different form. Okay, so what does it represent? It represents, Yod represents the cycles of life and death, and it contains everything, like I said, from the atom to the universes. The Yod synthesizes the tree of life. It is held in the very top sphere, the Keter sphere, and it connects the celestial realms. It connects the 3 levels of absolute reality from the Ein Sof, and Ein Sof Or. Those are the 3, or the 3 primary rays, the 3 rays of creation. So it is the connector from the crown, but because it's a synthesizer of the tree, it also resides in Malkut, which is the lowest, or the bottom sphere of the tree of life, because of course it's behind everything that ever existed and everything that doesn't exist. Okay, so it is called the spirit between God and us being the creature. It is the spirit that floats above the waters of creation, the waters of physical manifestation, in order to originate life. Yod holds the laws of life, right? In particular, the wheel of physical death and birth, so the law of karma, cause and effect. And it says, as long as we continue to create karma, it says that God must exhale us out or spit us back out, so to speak, so that we can clear our karma. Because when we have leftover karma in our soul or in our subtle body essences, we are not a vibrational match. So we cannot return home. So this is what Yod is all about, is purifying ourselves so that God will not spit us back out, but will return us with the inhalation. So therefore, Yod represents ethical behavior, living according to universal and spiritual laws. It also absolutely represents, if you're working with Yod, then you are on the path of total death of the ego, the personality. It's sacrificing. Oh, we're going to have a little cat fight while I'm doing this. I'll put it on pause. It's always an exciting time with cats who don't always get along. Okay, so Yod is sacrifice, just like Gene Key 19 talks about. He agrees. And it's about a total destruction or annihilation of the ego, the personality, the name, our history, our memories. Everything that we see as me must be sacrificed. And this is the work of Yod. I mean, even our knowledge. Are you willing to sacrifice your knowledge? Let's put this on pause once again. Okay, we're back. So Yod also represents knowledge of God in the physical plane. This is a realism represented by the realism and justice of the 60th gene key. Yod is called the passageway from non-existence, the celestial realm, to existence, as well as from existence back to non-existence. Yod can only, and they stress this very, very strongly, can only be realized through Tet. Tet is number 9, which was our very first codon ring that we did, and 9 or Tet represents the serpent Kundalini. So 9 or Kundalini is what gives 10 its power to ascend. Okay, without Kundalini having been awakened and rising, then we cannot have destruction of the ego. Okay, so 10 is also said to be the covenant, a covenant that we make with God or within ourselves to bridge God, the ineffable, and the manifest together within our bodies, in the physical body. Yod is also related to the word Tob in Hebrew. Tob means goodness. So Yod is, in essence, goodness, being good. And as a side note, my middle name is Toby. So hopefully I have a wee bit of Yod or goodness in me. So Yod is Tob regarding the goodness of man. Okay. Also, Yod is often depicted as a hand, and it's because, we have 10 fingers, 10 toes, and it's kind of metaphorical. These are our tools of creation, of expression. But Yod also relates to the property of touch, but also as well as our senses. So it's about sensitivity of touch and receiving intuitive impulses from the divine. And in Kabbalah, this is called the screen. Because Yod is depicted as a hand, you'll see a hand sometimes like this. It also says that it is necessary. It means it's a lot of hard work. So we have to have hard work. It is hard work on this path, or we work in the ground with our hands. So we're utilizing our hands appropriately and not mischievously. Anyway, what else? So 10 basically is all about how we conduct ourselves. how we are living. Are we living in harmony with the cosmic law? And it deals with our hidden senses, not just the 5 physical senses, but our senses such as the sense of appropriateness, loyalty to our inner truth, our sense of fairness, and our sense of wholeness. All of us have these hidden senses, like our sense of knowing what is right and wrong, but we often don't tune into those. And these senses are always connected to cosmic consciousness. And they dwell, these senses are found within our muscle tissue layers. And they allow us to respond to situations appropriately according to cosmic law without thinking, right? And you could recognize some of these responses as blushing, the body hair standing up, gene key 19, even the evacuation of the bowels when we're frightened. I mean, if we're covered in something stinky, then someone perhaps won't want to eat us or attack us. And I believe that's gene key 60 is the stomach or the colon or something. And what else? And it also is that sense when you're flowing and connected in harmony with the Tao or life or cosmic law, then you have this sense of going along your path with no resistance. This is not the path of least resistance. That's an egoic kind of man-made law or rule or saying. When you're in alignment or harmony with the cosmos, it's always the path of no resistance. So, so these are our hidden senses, okay? So what else? Regarding the 3 cities of this codon ring, of course, we have sacrifice, and we talked about that Yod, in order to ascend, to connect with the Aleph, the celestial, to return, to bring about the in-breath of God, your eventual reunion with God, you must sacrifice everything that you hold dear about yourself. And it means everything. And despite what people say that, oh, our ego is good, we need it, it's a tool, that is another collective, egoic, this is my humble opinion and many ancient texts' opinion, that it is absolutely, we are absolutely capable of living without an ego. And an ego doesn't mean not having a lower mind connection. Ego is a product of a lower mind. So we can live without the ego constructs. We still maintain lower mind functioning. So we can absolutely live without an ego. So don't let your ego tell you that it needs itself. Okay. Alrighty. And then justice. Justice, like Richard says in the book, is a difficult city to speak about. But it's in Yod's perspective, when you are living within the rules of cosmic law, of course, you are living a just life. And when ego has annihilated itself or been annihilated by Tet, the Kundalini serpent, then you have awakened to a certain level of reality in which everywhere you look is justice. And it's justice because you're seeing things just as they are, just is. Everything just is. And you see it functioning as God is just functioning. This is God being God. So everything has a level of justice, right? Everything just is, with no attachment. There's a neutrality. There's not even a thinking about what's going on. There's no opinions, okay? All right, so sanctity. And by the way, I think that this codon ring, these 3 gene keys are absolute. They're like behemoths, if that's the right word. I think if you had to get rid of all the gene keys and just pick 3, perhaps these 3 might be the ones to live by. Sanctity is the holy of holies. It is that level of enlightenment, of samadhi. And it is that level of, you can reach samadhi and not be enlightened, but it's the state or non-state of turiya. It's where you're stably, consistently living in a state of samadhi, or in that level of reality where everything just is. When there's no one here, it's a stabilized presence of your individual or non-individual resting in emptiness and fullness at the same time. And yet there's no one here experiencing that emptiness and fullness, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's move on. So like the one, the 10, these are some of the attributes of the 10. So if you see 10, and I like I said earlier, the 10 is like a carrier for Aleph. And if you look at the 1 and the 0, so it's kind of like the individual is being brought to the whole or the emptiness. So that's visually, if you want to look at it that way. So what are the attributes? So like the 1, the 10's deepest fear is that it is somehow bad, not good, that it is corruptible and unredeemable. So that makes the 10 and the 1's, well, basically the 10's basic desire is to be good and aligned with all that is good, holy and sacred and virtuous, and to live with integrity. To live in integrity means living the cosmic laws. And of course, moral. I mean, if you're living cosmic laws, then you're obviously living man-made moral and ethical rules as well. So 10 is always seeking perfection. And I wouldn't say not so much perfection in action or perfection out in the world, like I have to have my room perfectly clean and perfect. It's more perfection in his response, and his being is being perfected, the annihilation of the ego. Okay, so that is the search that the 10 is looking for. All right, so moving on. At the shadow level, we have codependence. So if you see 10, I have a lot of 10 showing up. Then there is some codependence on some outside structures that supposedly are to bring you to God, or codependence on a set of rules or idealistic things that are supposed to be what is supposed to be good, how you're supposed to behave. You are perhaps limiting yourself to the laws of man and this 3D reality. Of course, psychosis of mind, asking why. And some additional qualities are, for the 10, you are using power over others to control, to manipulate, because the 10 is full of power, right? And 10 is about not surrendering or availing yourself to God's will, or the will of, just life, the natural movement and progression of life, the force of life. So it's about forcing things as well. It is, you can be critical, judgmental, anal, fault-finding, uptight, upright, moralizing, correcting, feeling a personal sense of obligation to fix the world and probably everyone else around you, imposing order on self and others, can be the taskmaster. Yikes, might have to look at myself on that one. There's a sense of feeling imperfect all the time, thus, which provides all the rest of this. Hypocritical, compulsive, OCD behavior at the deepest levels is punishing self, punishing others, wrathful tendency, self-mutilating, and self-destructive, right? So at the healthiest, healthy levels, we have the 10 is one who has surrendered or sacrificed 100% of his will over to divine will. And these are the most, idealistic reformers. They are ethical, moral, principled, humble, precise, orderly, but not overly orderly, service-oriented, hardworking, discriminatory. They have discrimination like you wouldn't believe. They have a sense of dignity, a sense of purposefulness, or what they do has purpose. And I want to say, your only purpose in life is to do things with purpose. And that's what the 10s are about. Everything they do has purpose, and purpose means presence. I am aware of doing it, and I'm doing it with pure presence. Okay. And it's not so much intention that Gene Key 9 talks about. Doing things with intention is a magical act. I think it's more about doing it with presence, with a sense of purpose, a sense of God behind it, a sense of Aleph behind everything. Anyway, 10s are good-humored, impartial, sensible. They have a goodness for life. They're just good. You feel a sense of goodness. They are graceful, always wanting to take the right action, generous, noble, pure, and the archetype of the wise soul. And they have let go of the conviction or the attitude that they are somehow in a position to objectively judge anyone or any situation. So you can still be in the high atmosphere of the 10, real high healthy levels, and still have a sense that I can objectively say what is going on in this person or a situation. But at the highest level, of course, that final shred of ignorance is annihilated. You let go of any idea of teaching others, wanting to know what is what, and judging a situation. You just let go and realize the justice of everything is that everything just is, and everything is already perfect. So that's our little Yod. I hope you've enjoyed it, and take Yod with you. I mean, you really have no choice, do you?